Hey guys, what's going on? Thank you so much for watching today and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. My name is Savannah. If you're brand new here, thanks so much for stopping by. In today's video, we are building a mid-century style home. And you guys, I might have found my new favorite style to build in. Previously, I really liked building cottages and more rustic-y builds is kind of what I gravitated towards. But after working on this house, I love this so much. So we are building in Oasis Springs, as you might be able to tell, on one of the lots that has grass. I totally forget which one it is, but you can see up in the left-hand corner there, the name of the lot is up on the left. There was a house already built here, but I completely demolished that to start from scratch. And I love this house. I love how it turned out. So what we're building today is actually for a single sim. And I envisioned that this was going to be a house that was owned by her grandmother or grandfather, either or, that they lived here. And so it's a very kind of old style house. But since she has taken over and moved in, she has done some renovations herself. So some of the pieces that you'll see that we pick, some of the objects that we place, are in kind of the mid-century style, but I've picked like much lighter colors because I wanted to simulate if somebody was to get those old pieces of furniture and just kind of sand them down and repaint them, that's kind of what they would look like. So there is a lot of dark wood, obviously with mid-century stuff. Dark wood, oak, stained wood, stuff like that was really popular, but in wanting to keep it where she was doing some renovations and things like that, that's where kind of all the white and the light bright colors come into play. I also didn't want to clutter this build too much, so it is fairly, I don't want to call it sparse or minimal because I don't think it's either of those two, but it's kind of just, we'll call it maybe gently lived in, I guess, is what I was going for. I was working really heavily off of a reference picture that I found on Pinterest. So the exterior kind of layout of the house is really heavily inspired by that picture from another creator. It didn't say the name, so I apologize. If you recognize who it's from, please leave that down in the comments below and let me know. But I did end up adding a little bit more onto the house than in that original picture. So the left-hand side of the house looks just a little bit different than the reference picture. And I did end up using different wallpapers and different windows and things like that. The other thing in this house that I really wanted to play around with were platforms, because I know we've had them in the game for quite a while, but I honestly really haven't played with them all that much. So my first challenge was figuring out, because I used platforms at the entrance of the house, which means the front door was up higher, how I was gonna get the interior of the house to kind of play along with that. So you're gonna see I left it all in just because I know people do like to see the process and kind of the thought process behind how I end up at the final product. So I tried a couple different things with the platforms and we ended up landing on this right here, where the front entrance of the house and then what ends up being the kitchen is all up on a platform. Then you step down into the dining room, and then the living room is next to that, and then we have a bedroom and a bathroom. I think it works out pretty well. It was kind of the best layout that I could come up with. And you guys know, if you're not new to the channel, how much I struggle with layouts. So I was pretty proud of myself that this one turned out as well as it did. So here is going to be kind of the final layout, give or take. I'm still kind of trying to figure out where the bedroom's gonna go because I didn't want the bathroom to be the very front of the house, because then, I mean, obviously there's a front window at the front of your house. I didn't want that to be your bathroom and people walking by can, you know, get a peek into your bathroom. Nobody wants that, I don't think. None of this furniture that we've put down, other than the fireplace and that kind of front entrance detail thing, room divider, whatever you want to call it, is final. That was just me making sure there was enough space in the house for everything. In this inside, in the interior, I also tried to use lots of color and some patterns. and things to just help make it bright and fun. I imagine the sim that lives here is a very fun person herself. Maybe she is in the interior design kind of industry, and that's why she kind of likes more out there and vibrant things. But I used the mid-century category quite a bit in this build just to kind of help me narrow down which objects would go best with this style, because it's, like I said, it's not a style that I've built in before, but it might just be my favorite one. And honestly, the kitchen is my favorite part. So we end up using these counters from Dream Home Decorator in this yellow pattern, and we do yellow with the Jungle Adventure stove and fridge in an orange color, which is so out there for me in comparison to what I normally build. I personally gravitate towards neutral colors to very kind of mellow, you know, natural tones, things like that. That's what I decorate my own house in and what I kind of like. And I'm really not a super bright color person, but something about this kitchen, I love it so much. So the yellow, the orange, and then the blue in the curtains, I think just make it really, really fun. And you can see we use the two tones. The uppers are a kind of natural wood color and the lowers are a yellow. My thought process again being that maybe the upper cabinets got refinished, or maybe the opposite. Maybe the upper cabinets were original and then she painted the lower cabinets, although I feel like that wouldn't have been the case. But regardless, two different color cabinets in the kitchen just to kind of keep it bright and fun. And then working on this little entrance area here, very simple, with just a coat rack, some shoes, and then this little cabinet, I guess is what you would call it, little side table. And I totally forget what pack it's from. Is it Laundry Day? I totally forget. But yeah, just adding some little clutter objects here. I end up adding the little bowl as kind of like a place to put your keys when you first walk in. Again, that little room divider, you can see me kind of playing with the colors. I thought, well, maybe we should go more dark tones in the house because, again, mid-century, having lots of wood color, lots of dark wood. But no, I thought, you know, let's keep it bright, let's keep it fun, like she refinished a lot of these things. So this little side cabinet is one of those things. You can see that I've colored it white, thought process being that she sanded it down, painted it white to make it kind of match her aesthetic a little bit more. The layout of this dining area does get changed a little bit because as I'm kind of finishing up the build, I decide that for once I want to add a backyard area. In my builds, I tend to forget about outside spaces, and so I really wanted to add a pool and kind of outdoor deck area, which I'll end up doing towards the end of the video. So I end up getting rid of one of those bookshelves and then adding in a sliding glass door, so that the sim can get out into the backyard and go around the corner to her pool. But yeah, so just adding a little bit more details, as in curtains, because I think curtains make everything look a little bit more lived in. Adding that plant from Blooming Rooms kit, the hanging plant. I can't build anything without that now. I'm so in love with that plant. I love it so much. But it kind of sucks because it is kind of the only object that I tend to use from Blooming Rooms, although I do use a couple in this build. And if you don't have it, then unfortunately it won't be there if you do download this, which brings me to this is up on the gallery. If you would like to download it, my gallery ID is YTSimplySimming. There is a it's written out down in the description below if you need to see it spelled out, but all of my builds are uploaded there for you guys to play with and do what you would like with. So hopefully you enjoy that. And now we're moving on to the bathroom using the same cabinets that were in the kitchen. And there's honestly not much to say about the bathroom. I do pack quite a bit of stuff in here, but it's just a bathroom. There's not too much fun stuff about it. I will say I built this before all of the content on the new high school expansion pack, the high school years expansion pack came out, and I've spent the last day or so watching a lot of creators go over like the build and buy and the world tour and all that kind of stuff, and I have to say I absolutely love the art deco style of the stuff that's coming in that expansion pack, and a lot of it looks really mid-century to me. Like it could potentially be mid-century. And so I was a little bummed because there was a lot of stuff when I was watching the build buy overviews. I was like, oh, I could have used that in this house and I could have used that in this house. So all that tells me is that I'm gonna have to build another mid-century home here in the near future when high school years come out. As far as Art Deco goes, I'm not super familiar with that style, so I'll have to do some Pinterest searching, especially since we are getting round walls in a free update coming soon. So I'm very, very excited about that, and I'll have to figure out a good way to incorporate them into a house. Maybe we'll build kind of a funky looking house. But let me know, are you excited about the high school years expansion pack? And if so, what are you most excited for? I honestly, because I don't really do a whole lot of gameplay, I'm really most excited about the fact that it's an expansion pack, and that means lots of build and buy, because I cannot wait to get new objects and play with all the new furniture. And some of the color swatches in there look phenomenal. Like the rugs have lots of different shapes and things like that, and I just can't wait to get my hands on it. So I will be very, very excited to start building with everything that comes in that pack. Now we've moved on to the bedroom here, and again I will say don't get too attached to this layout of the bedroom. I put this together and I was very happy with it, but then I go outside and I start working on like the pool deck area. Then when I came back and I looked at it, I was like, you know what? This looks a little bit too contemporary, maybe too, not modern, but too new, basically. I felt like the bedroom strayed a little bit too far from the mid-century feel, so I end up taking away those hanging clothes and putting in wardrobes on the left-hand side of the bed, and I feel like it made it feel just a little bit more like it fit in with the house. I felt like I had kind of gone too much towards my personal style and kind of left the mid-century style behind in the dust. So I do end up going back to that. And now, are we actually starting to place, oh no, we're not. I'm fiddling with the, what's that called? The fireplace, the chimney. At one point in the video, and I don't remember if I cut it out or not, I end up placing a ton of rocks because I wanted to line all of the outdoor planters with little itty bitty rocks, which is great in theory, but even when you hold shift to place one object and have it duplicate again on your cursor so that you can place multiple of that object, it doesn't keep the rescaling size. So I had to, hold shift, duplicate it, but then size down each individual rock, and all this dirt area that you're seeing here on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side in front of the house, I end up lining with little rocks, and the end result I think looks phenomenal. You'll be able to see it in the thumbnail how it ends up turning out, but oh my gosh, did it take me it took me so long. It took me forever. But I'm really happy with it because I really like how it turned out. It's at this point when I'm scrolling through the debug menu, because I tend to leave going through the debug menu to the very end of my builds once I've kind of placed the majority of what I want to place. And then I kind of go through debug to look for clutter items or extra detail items and stuff like that. I'm still trying to get used to, or memorize rather, where different objects are in debug, like what pack they come from, so that I can kind of easily search for them. But I ended up finding that fence that we placed as the backyard, and that's when I decided that I wanted to make a pool in a backyard space. But as you can see here, this is what I meant by rocks. So in the speed build, it doesn't actually look like it took me too long, but this took me forever. And you can see I kind of back the camera up and look, and in my mind I'm thinking like, does this actually look good? Is it worth it? Is it worth the time? And to be honest, I'm probably just complaining and being whiny because it really didn't take like that long, but in comparison to the rest of the build, it did take a really long time. But I really like how it turned out. I feel like it really fits the front of the house. The only bummer is that I wasn't able to get them real close to the platforms without them kind of popping up and wanting to be on the top of the platform. So I ended up using some lights and putting them in those little spaces to make it not look quite so blank. The tool mod is something that I know is out there and definitely could have helped with that, but it's not something that I've downloaded or learned how to use at all yet. So I just kind of am going with what I can do with just move objects and the kind of rescaling and whatnot. But there you go. We are all done at placing little rocks. So just going to clean it up a bit. And I think it overall just adds so much detail to the front of the house. And I'm really, really happy with it and how it comes out all together. Like I've said, I think I've said it twice already now, but this might just be my favorite style to build in. I just love how the exterior of the house comes together. We used a lot of, I think it was Get Famous stuff, because a lot of that has some mid-century feeling. There's some eco lifestyle stuff that has some mid-century feel to it as well. As with all my builds, down in the description below is a list of all of the game packs, all the expansion packs, kits, all that kind of stuff that I've used in this build. So if you're curious which packs were used, it's all down there. Unfortunately, it is quite a few of them because I was just having fun and I was really just kind of building what I thought looked good. So I wasn't really paying attention to a lot of the packs that I was using. I will at some point try to do a limited pack build because I know that's been requested and something that I would want to challenge myself to do. I just haven't got around to doing it. If you're not new to the channel here, you'll know this is actually my second channel. My first channel is called Simply Savannah. Link is down in the description below if you do want to check it out. But I've been putting a lot of time and effort into that channel and kind of let this one slide for just a while, but I want to jump back into building more Sims content. And that way I can stay on top of this channel as well, because The Sims is something that I really do enjoy. And when I have the time and the inspiration, I really have fun building and putting houses together. I do, however, think I need to branch out because I generally tend to build for like female Sims or single Sims, like 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom houses. And I think it's time for me to tackle something a little bit bigger and maybe for a family or maybe for a bachelor or something like that. That way it's not super repetitive, at least for me, and that way I can kind of branch out and work with different styles and stuff like that. This backyard I keep very, very simple out in the back. So we just put a little barbecue, a little sunning bed or sunning chair along with the pool and stuff. And yeah, just really simple. So that's basically all that gets put in the backyard. Moving back over here to the bedroom to do a couple little reworking things. So like I said, moving this around so that we actually have the two wardrobes side by side, adding a little mirror. And I just think it comes together a lot nicer than it was originally. It like I said, it looks like it's more true to the house than what was there before, because it feels like it kind of fits. And then from here on out, we really only have a couple minutes or so left of this speed build. So I'm just going to go around and place a couple different clutter items to make it look a little bit lived in, but I really did not want to go over the top or overboard. So I add just a few bare essentials to like the kitchen and whatnot. I imagine a lot of the stuff where I normally would do like open shelves and go kind of crazy with the cluttering. I wanted this to be a little bit simpler, and so envisioning, you know, there are upper cabinets on both sides of the kitchen, so a lot of the stuff is going to be either below in the cabinets or in those uppers. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we are going to jump into some little end glamour shots, if you will, here in just a second. I really do hope that you guys enjoyed. If you've made it this far in the video, please do go down and leave a like. It really does help me out, and I greatly do appreciate it. Again, I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk at you guys in the next video. Bye!